We know Scizor's going to use Dig, and here comes that Dig. And just like that, down goes Nidoking. Nidoking is out of the competition. Welcome back to MetroMania. If you missed the previous quarterfinal, you missed Scizor absolutely dominating Nidoking. Nidoking goes out of this competition and Scizor moves on to the semi-finals. We have one more place left in the semi-finals. We have Lucario versus Heracross set. Now we need to find out Scizor's opponent in those semi-finals as Arcanine takes on KINGDRA. So here we go, Arcanine versus KINGDRA in the fourth of our Season 12 MetroMania quarterfinals to determine the final place in the semi-finals. We see Arcanine's Intimidate starting things off. Remember, one of the Arcanine has the primary ability of Intimidate, so the KINGDRA team will be beginning this battle with a -1 attack disadvantage, but KINGDRA's more of a special attacker, I'm pretty sure, so I'm not thinking it's going to be too worried. And Toxic on turn 1 from Arcanine onto the Shiny KINGDRA there. That's a great starting play. So Shiny KINGDRA, if it doesn't get any, like, health restores or anything like that, no recovers or no morning suns, then it's only probably got about 8 turns in this battle, and there's a Water Pulse to chip away at KINGDRA there, 4 times resisted, but also will, you know, reduce the amount of time it's going to be on the field. We see knockoff from the Shiny KINGDRA onto the Shiny Arcanine there, activating the Justified ability and raising Arcanine's attack by 1 stage. Raise my attack by hitting the subscribe button, turn on all notifications. But also, the knockoff removes the Leopard Berry from that Arcanine, and there's the Haze to remove the attack boost and also restore the KINGDRA team's attack back up to maximum. So that's a great starting turn by the KINGDRA team. Both teams are very, very competent in what they do. We've seen that in their previous battles. And now here comes regular Arcanine with Bullet Punch. That is going to be resisted by the Water-type KINGDRA there, but it still did a decent little bit of chip damage there. Critical hit at that. So certainly making headway towards taking these KINGDRA down. And now the Shiny Arcanine is going to go for Shadow Claw, maybe hoping for a critical hit of its own. Decent chunk of damage there to the Shiny KINGDRA, who now gets a turn to retaliate. What will it do? Going to go for Aura Sphere. Let's see how much damage this Aura Sphere does. Of course, it's a special attack. It does a great chunk of damage there to that regular Arcanine. These Pokemon both have decent bulk behind them as well, which is why we're not seeing a great deal of damage being applied. Slowly chipping away at each other more than anything. The Glaciate does barely any damage there to either of the Arcanine, but will drop their speed by 1 stage apiece. So it'd be interesting to see if that now means that the KINGDRA outspeeds the Arcanine team, possibly. But there's that toxic damage, just slowly sapping the life out of Shiny KINGDRA. Shiny KINGDRA needs a miracle right now, like a Heal Bell or an Aromatherapy or something like that. Here we see Night Slash, another critical hit attempt here from KINGDRA onto Shiny Arcanine there, once again reactivating that Justified ability, so raising Shiny Arcanine's attack back up to +1. And now Shiny KINGDRA goes for the Confuse Ray, maybe hoping to get this regular Arcanine to chip away at its own HP. You know, help the KINGDRA team rather than its own team. I guess we'll see going forward. Shiny Arcanine, though, is looking to fire back and is going to go for Aerial Ace. And how much damage will that do? Does a big chunk of damage there to Shiny KINGDRA. And regular Arcanine is confused, is going to hit itself in confusion, so won't make a move this turn. And there's that toxic damage once again. Just slowly but surely. The Shiny KINGDRA has like 1 more turn of life left in it from the looks of things, so it needs to use it wisely. Regular KINGDRA, on the other hand, is very, very healthy right now. Goes for Sacred Fire. That's going to be resisted because, of course, it's a Fire-type move on a Fire-type Pokemon, but does bring regular Arcanine down to less than half its max HP. Now, what is Shiny KINGDRA going to do here as potentially its last move? Shadow Force, so it's going to vanish instantly. I don't know that that was a good idea, because that's a 2-turn attack, and I don't think you've got 2 turns in you, buddy. And now regular Arcanine hits itself in confusion again, not getting very lucky at all with that confusion. And now Shiny Arcanine follows up with Crab Hammer, avoided by Shiny KINGDRA, but there's the toxic damage, and down goes Shiny KINGDRA. First casualty of this final quarterfinal. Very unfortunate for the KINGDRA team, but a great play on that turn 1 toxic by Arcanine. Now Kingdra has an uphill battle here. It's against two opponents. Its back is against the wall. Goes for Dragon Dance, which is a great play there. Raise your attack, raise your speed, and go hammer. Go on the offensive. That means this Kingdra could become very, very dangerous against these Arcanine, especially having, you know, it has the type advantage after all. That's one thing people always mention is the type advantage. There's Happy Hour from Shiny Arcanine, maybe celebrating a little bit too early there, wasting its turn, but regular Arcanine snaps out of confusion. And here we go with Focus Blast, but it does get avoided by the regular Kingdra there. So Kingdra taking advantage of Focus Miss. What's it going to do here now that it's at +1 attack and +1 speed? Belly Drum. That might not be a safe play right there. Belly Drum sacrificing half its HP to raise its attack up to maximum +6 though. That's a scary thought. Kingdra with +6 attack. Arcanine goes for Spark. It's going to be neutral damage because of the Dragon typing on Kingdra and does put it in the danger zone but doesn't quite take it out. Shiny Arcanine's going to go for First Impression. That's going to fail because it's not the first turn. Kingdra now has an opening. Imagine if it uses an Earthquake or a Bulldoze. That will be the end of both Arcanine here. And Kingdra's going to go for Grassy Terrain, which will restore its HP as well as the Arcanine team's HP at the end of each turn. But I would go on the offensive right now if I were Kingdra. You've given an opportunity to these Arcanine. What are they going to do with that opportunity? Time will tell. Shiny Arcanine goes for Triple Kick. That's got to be it over. Yeah, that's going to take out Kingdra. So let's take a moment. It's 1-0 to Arcanine. Let's hear from our sponsors.
Do you know what we don't talk about enough on this channel? The fact you can use code ACE to save money on Control Freak precision gaming products. But seriously though, Control Freak make a bunch of wonderful products that help make your gaming experience just that little bit more straightforward and comfortable. They have things like precision thumbsticks like I use on here, which help with aiming in FPS games and things like that. Like I'm better at playing Call of Duty when I use these thumbsticks because my aim's a little bit better. I'm still not good, but I'm a lot better than I would be without these Control Freak performance thumbsticks. And when I'm playing on my Nintendo Switch with my Pro Controller, we've got the lovely, wonderful, comforting, luxurious comfort grips right there. They are absolutely beautiful. And remember, you can use code ACE today and get yourself 10% off your Control Freak order. Ain't I nice to you? Go and check out everything they have because they don't just have thumbsticks and grips. They also have things like precision rings. They also have gaming lights. They also have braided cables and stuff like that. Oh, it's wonderful. Go check out Control Freak. Use code ACE for 10% off. And if you don't, you're a dickhead. Dickhead.
So here we are with round 2. Kingdra back on the field, but trailing 0-1. Arcanine sitting pretty in the driver's seat right now. All Arcanine needs to do is get one victory here over the Kingdra team, and it's done. And it's through to face Scizor in the semi-finals. But if Kingdra can equalize, if Kingdra can win this round, it'll have another opportunity to secure that place in the semi-finals against Scizor. That's if it can get it to 1 apiece. We see Supersonic from Arcanine. It was confused in the previous round, and now turnabout is fair play. Confusing regular Kingdra there, maybe hoping to get some confusion damage applied to that Kingdra. Remember, the Kingdra team is starting at -1 attack because of the Intimidate from Arcanine. And here's an Air Slash from the Shiny Arcanine to the Shiny Kingdra there. Big damage there off that Air Slash. That's very impressive. And now we see Hurricane, avoided by Shiny Arcanine. That's unfortunate for Shiny Kingdra. And regular Kingdra hits itself in confusion on turn 1. So not a good start for the Kingdra team, who desperately need to claw back a victory in this battle to stay in this Metromania Season 12 competition. Shiny Arcanine starting off the next turn with Floral Healing. Maybe feeling a bit of remorse there, showing a bit of mercy. Healing the Shiny Kingdra back up to maximum HP, back right up to full. So interesting play there by the Arcanine. Was that a mistake? Is that going to cost them? Is that going to force them to have to battle in the 3rd round? We see Fire Pledge is going to be 4 times resisted by Kingdra, so a wasted turn there by the regular Arcanine. Critical hit or no critical hit, it didn't do a lot of damage at all there. Shiny Kingdra looks to retaliate though with Double Kick onto the regular Arcanine there for 2 little chunks of chip damage. Going to start slowly working on the offense. Really, the Kingdra team needs to go on the offense here to try and take down one of these Arcanine as quickly as possible. But regular Kingdra hits itself in confusion once again. Hasn't been able to get out of the gate yet. Has only taken damage. Has not given out any damage so far. And here is Shiny Arcanine with Discharge. That's going to hit everybody on the field. That's a very risky play there. Does a little bit of chip damage to everybody. Paralyzes regular Kingdra. Paralyzes Shiny Kingdra. but doesn't paralyze regular Arcanine. So actually that was a fantastic play there, get the paralysis on both opponents. Here's an Icicle Crash, which will be neutral from the regular Arcanine there onto the shiny Kingdra for a good chunk of damage as well, bringing it closer to the halfway point of its HP. Regular Kingdra is fully paralyzed and can't move after ignoring the confusion, and the shiny Kingdra flinched. Wow, we've got Paraflinch and Parafusion in the same turn. Togekiss would be proud. Here's shiny Arcanine with a Psybeam onto which of the Kingdra there. It's going to land the Psybeam on the shiny Kingdra, bringing it down to less than half its max HP. So it's getting closer and closer to the danger zone here. And we've got regular Arcanine with a Flame Charge. That'll be 4 times resisted, but same type attack bonus, bringing the regular Kingdra down to less than half its max HP, but increasing Arcanine's speed by 1 stage. Over to shiny Kingdra now, who's going to ignore the paralysis and go for Heavy Slam. It's not a heavy Pokemon compared to Arcanine, to be honest, so it's not going to do a great deal of damage. Barely any damage done there. Resisted as well. Regular Kingdra, though, is confused. Is going to ignore it, though, and ignore the paralysis. Go for the Metronome. And what is it going to do? Going to go for Moonblast. That will be resisted by the shiny Arcanine there, so not a great deal of damage. That's one of the type effectivenesses a lot of people forget, is that fire resists fairy. So clearly Kingdra forgot that as well. Now we have Arcanine starting off the next turn. It's now the fastest thing on the field, being at +1 speed. It's going to go for Volt Switch, which will do some neutral damage to the regular Kingdra there, bringing it even further down. It's not looking very healthy at all. It's looking very, very scary for the Kingdra team. We have shiny Arcanine taking a turn to use Acid Armor, increasing its defense by 2 stages there. So going to give itself even more protection against physical hits. The regular Kingdra has ignored the confusion. That's what I'm trying to say. Goes for Night Daze, which is a great play there, onto the regular Arcanine, bringing that down to less than half its max HP and dropping its accuracy by 1 stage. That might be the saving grace. This Kingdra team needs to get that equalizer. We have Amnesia from shiny Kingdra, looking to raise its special defense by 2 stages. Going to protect itself going forward. Interesting that both teams had a defensive turn, but 1 physical, 1 special. Very interesting there. And now regular Arcanine is going to begin the next turn, getting its Metronome ready, and is going to go for Terrain Pulse, but there's no terrain in effect to change the typing of that move, so it's going to be a normal type move. Barely any damage there to the shiny Kingdra because of that special defense increase. 2 stages, remember. Shiny Arcanine goes for Horn Drill. It's avoided by Kingdra, so the Kingdra team has an opening. Shiny Kingdra is going to go for Vicious Rend, which will be super effective. It's on the shiny Arcanine, though, who has the defense boost, so does barely any damage there. That's very lucky for shiny Arcanine. And now we have regular Kingdra, who's going to go for Tail Slap. How many hits is it going to get? It gets 1 hit. Barely any damage, though. 2 hits. 3 hits, so we're getting 4. We get 4 hits. Just the 4 hits there from the Tail Slap. Not enough to put Arcanine in the danger zone, but enough to deal some chip damage. And any damage is better than no damage, I guess, at this point of the game. Kingdra desperately need to do as much damage as they can, though. Regular Arcanine goes for Fusion Flare. Again, it's going to be 4 times resisted, but will be powered up by same type attack bonus. Onto the shiny Kingdra there. Barely anything. Didn't even tickle it. So now shiny Arcanine looks to follow up, though, and its Metronome selects it. Light Screen going to protect itself against special attacks, and it's obviously its ally Pokemon as well. So that's going to be terrible for the Kingdra team, because now the shiny Arcanine is pretty much unstoppable. We have a Grass Pledge. That's not going to be very effective from the regular Kingdra there onto the regular Arcanine, who's now in the danger zone. You heard the bell. And here's shiny Kingdra, who follows up with Poison Powder. Maybe looking... Oh, and on the correct Arcanine, you love to see it. If it would have used Poison Powder on the regular Arcanine, I'd have said that would have been a mistake because it's already in the danger zone. But poison damage applied to shiny Arcanine, who is behind Light Screen and has +2 defense. That was a great choice of opponent for the Poison Powder. So you got to give props to the shiny Kingdra there. That was a great play. Might have even saved the Kingdra team in this battle. We have Weather Ball from Arcanine onto which of its opponents here? It's going to land on the shiny Kingdra there for a bit of chip damage, enough chip damage to put it into the danger zone. So now, what's shiny Arcanine going to do? Moonblast to follow up onto which of the Kingdra here? Onto the Kingdra that had more HP and takes it out. That's the smart play right there. Smart plays all round here. That was a great choice with the Moonblast. So now we just have 1 Kingdra in the danger zone. Shiny Kingdra is going to go for Darkest Lariat onto which of its opponents here? Darkest Lariat, of course, ignores stat changes, so the defense boost from the shiny Arcanine does not come into effect. And it does activate the Justified ability, though, because it's a Dark-type move. So Shiny Arcanine now at +1 attack, but it is in the danger zone, so that was a solid play there by Shiny Kingdra. But it needs to take out one of these Arcanine as soon as possible. What is the regular Arcanine going to do here as it begins this next turn? It's going to go for Mind Reader. It wants to make sure that it can definitely land a hit. I believe Mind Reader, yeah, it's the old Articuno strat. Mind Reader Sheer Cold. And Shiny Arcanine gets ready with the Metronome. Goes for Petal Blizzard. That'll be neutral, but it's a +1 attack. Will that be enough? Takes down Kingdra. So Kingdra's out of here. Arcanine's out of here as well. Oh, that frame rate is terrible. Thank you, OBS. We love OBS. But down goes Kingdra. Kingdra's out of the competition. We're playing for pride in this round now. Kingdra couldn't quite cut it against Arcanine, and Arcanine will be Scizor's opponent in the semi-finals. We now have a semi-finals set. They're going to be Lucario versus Heracross and Scizor versus Arcanine. Let's see what happens going forward here in this Pride round. Can the Kingdra team leave with their pride? Shiny Arcanine starting things off with a Whirlpool, 4 times resisted by Kingdra, but will damage Kingdra at the end of each turn. Now over to regular Arcanine. What will it do as its first turn in the Pride round? Goes for Ice Shard, that'll be neutral. And it's on the regular Kingdra there, doubling into regular Kingdra to do as much damage as possible. Now Shiny Kingdra starting things off, must be gutted. Goes for Conversion, going to change itself to a normal type. It must be gutted that it's not going through to the semi-finals. It had such a shot. It was really the dark horse of this competition. As we see Assurance from the regular Kingdra there onto the Shiny Arcanine. I believe that's going to activate Justified. Yeah, it is. So +1 attack on the Shiny Arcanine there. Kingdra definitely was the dark horse of this competition because it's the Pokemon that people forget that Gary Oak had. Gary, as we call him in WTF moments, had a Kingdra, but we never saw it physically in person because it was one of those Pokemon that was just shown to be in his possession in the league. Here's Torment from regular Arcanine, which means that Shiny Kingdra is not going to be able to use Metronome every other turn. Here's Shiny Arcanine, though, who's going to go for Water Gun, which is 4 times resisted. Just toying with the Kingdra here. Barely any damage at all. Over to the regular Kingdra now to see what it'll do to follow up. It's going to go for Heal Bell, but that's not going to affect anything because there are no status effects in play right now. And Shiny Kingdra is going to go for Hypnosis, looking to put one of the Arcanine to sleep. And it's going to land it on the regular Arcanine there. So regular Arcanine going to be sitting out the next few turns, which doesn't bode well for the Arcanine team. There's the Whirlpool damage once again taking effect on the regular Kingdra there. And now, this is very much in the Kingdra's court, to be honest. This is very much all Kingdra right now. Shiny Arcanine is going to go for Thunder Wave, though, and is going to paralyze the Shiny Kingdra, which could be detrimental going forward, but I guess we'll see. I think I'd rather have paralysis than be asleep if I were a Pokemon right now, because at least there's a chance I can move. Whereas sleep, you just got to wait it out. And now the regular Kingdra is going to go for Freeze Dry, which will be resisted as it's an Ice-type move on the regular Arcanine there, who's just a sitting duck. Shiny Kingdra's paralyzed and cannot move at all, and there's even more Whirlpool damage, bringing regular Kingdra down to less than half its max HP. But Shiny Arcanine needs its partner Pokemon to wake up because it needs to start dishing out some damage. What's it going to do, though, here as it gets ready with the Metronome? It's going to go for Double Hit, looking to get 2 straightforward strikes here onto the Shiny Kingdra, and does a good chunk of damage there with that double hit. Regular Arcanine fast asleep, can't do anything right now. So it's over to regular Kingdra, who gets a turn to retaliate. And it's going to go for Bullet Punch. Again, that's resisted. This Kingdra team are not getting very lucky with the Metronome at all. That was barely felt by the Shiny Arcanine there. Shiny Kingdra, though, is going to ignore its paralysis, and it's going to go for Assurance. Is that on the Shiny Arcanine once again? It is! So now Shiny Arcanine is at +2 attack because of the Justified ability. The Kingdra team just aren't quite getting what happens when you use a Dark-type move on a Justified Arcanine. There's more Whirlpool damage on that regular Kingdra, who's very, very, very slowly getting to a position where it's not going to be any use at all in this battle. It's more of a hindrance. We see Shiny Arcanine using Acupressure, which is going to raise a stat of its partner Pokemon, which is going to be its evasiveness. So Arcanine, who just woke up, now has +2 evasiveness, which means that it's going to be even harder to hit for the Kingdra team. Although it goes for Flash Cannon, which is not very effective on the Shiny Kingdra there. Oh, wait, no, it was neutral damage. Shiny Kingdra is currently a normal type. My apologies. Here's a skill swap from the regular Kingdra. That's a great play. Stealing Intimidate from regular Arcanine, so that's going to reduce the attack stat of each of the Arcanine, which means that Shiny Arcanine is back down to +1 attack, and regular Arcanine is at -1 attack. So great play there by the Kingdra. That was a really smart move. Shiny Kingdra, though, because of the Torment, has to struggle. Barely any damage, but 25% of its health as recoil damage there. And there is even more Whirlpool damage whittling away at the regular Kingdra. The Kingdra team really couldn't get out of the gate in this competition. Like, the Arcanine team are so healthy right now. They really don't have to worry at all. Shiny Arcanine gets ready with the Metronome, and he's going to go for Sparkling Aria. Shades of Primarina here. Going to hit everybody on the field, though. So it does a big chunk of damage there to regular Arcanine, but takes out the Shiny Kingdra, who didn't resist it because of it changing to a normal type. We're down to just one Kingdra here versus two very healthy Arcanine. And there's an air cutter from regular Arcanine onto Kingdra. Is that enough? It's not. Kingdra lives on 1 hit point, but it's looking very, very dire here for Kingdra. Goes for Psychic. How much damage is this Psychic attack gonna do to the Shiny Arcanine there? Not enough to put it in any danger. It was freed from the Whirlpool, though, so Kingdra is still in this. But this has got to be all she wrote for Kingdra. What a bad showing it's had here after such a great match it had with Umbreon. We see Gastro Acid suppressing the Intimidate ability, I guess, of this Kingdra. Whatever you want to do there, Arcanine. Now over to Shiny Arcanine, ready with the Metronome. What's it going to do? It's going to go for Fell Stinger, and that's going to be all she wrote. 3-0, clean sweep by the Arcanine team, going through, as we already know, to face Scizor in the semi-finals. What a great play there. What a fantastic showing by Arcanine, which has just been great all the way through this competition. Is that Arcanine's second 3-0? It might be. All I know is the semi-finals are set, so tune in next week, because semi-final 1 is going to be Lucario taking on Heracross.
So that'll do it for another episode of MetroMania. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Share the video with a friend. Head over to twitch.tv/AceTrainLiam for all of my live streams. And of course, use code ACE for 10% off Control Freak Precision Gaming equipment. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.